our last section of chapter 4, we're going to talk about fractions and decimals. Fractions, that as we have discussed earlier, are part of a whole, just as in a decimal will be considered part of a whole. So fractions and mixed numbers can be written as decimals using long division. So in our first example of 7 over 20, you'll take 7 divided by 20. Be sure and bring your decimal up. So in decimal form, 7/20 is the same as 3,500. In example 2, if we're going to put 3 and 5/8 in decimal form, we're going to take 5 and have it divided by 8. So 3 and 5/8 in decimal form would be 3 and 625,000. When long division results in a remainder of 0, the quotient is a terminating decimal. We're going to take this fraction, put it in decimal form, using long division. Note that when we take 17 divided by 200, in decimal form, 17 over 200 is equal to 85,000. And it is called a terminating it's called a terminating decimal because the remainder is 0. They do not have anything in their remainder. When the remainder is not a 0 and one or more of the digits repeat without end, the quotient is called a repeating decimal. So 4 divided by 9. It is very important that you line everything up in order to get the correct answer and to avoid confusion. Now, I could continue to divide this, but I'll notice that it repeats. So 4/9 written in a decimal is 0.4 with a bar notation over the 4. It only needs to be over the first 4 to indicate that it repeats. When a digit repeats, you use a bar that indicates the repeating pattern. So in our first example, the bar notation goes over the 0 and the 5. In our second example, the bar notation goes over 6. And in our third example, the bar notation goes only over the 8. In number 5, write a fraction or mixed number as a decimal. When you have a fraction and its denominator is 10, 3/10 can be written in decimal form is 3/10. Now notice in B, can we make that fraction have a denominator of 10? Can we write an equivalent fraction to have a denominator of 10? And the answer would be yes. So 3 4/5, the equivalent fraction is 3 8/10. So if we wanted to write this in decimal form, so in example C, we are going to determine what the decimal is for 13/33. I'm going to pause the video, let you work it out, and come back and check your answer. Let's go on C. You'll notice a pattern of 39 repeating. So once you are sure that it's going to continue to repeat, you can stop dividing. So 13/33 is 0.39 with the bar notation over the 3 and the 9. In D, you have an improper fraction of 13/6. The first thing you're going to do is change it to a mixed number. You want to put a star by here. (13/6) in a mixed number form is 2/6. So you'll take 2/6 to find the decimal portion. So I'm noticing right now that there's a pattern. So 1 divided by 6. Bar notation goes over the 6. I'm going to let you work E and F. Pause the video and come back. So in our example E, we had 2 7/8. We took 7 and divided it by 8. And notice that it is a terminating decimal because our remainder is 0. In F, we changed that improper fraction to a mixed number. And we took 9 divided by 22. Notice the pattern of 0 and 9 repeating. So our bar notation went over the 0 and 9. So our final answer is going to be 1.409, bar notation over the 9. To write the decimal as a fraction, use the place value of the last digit of the decimal to determine the denominator. Always reduce. So in this example, write it as it's read, 45/100, but we will always reduce. So 45/100 reduced is 9/20. So our final answer would be 9/20. A and B, I'm going to pause the video, let you set it up, reduce it to its simplest form. And you'll notice on A, we had 85/100 and wrote it as it's in fraction form, as you read it. We reduced it to 17/20. B, we had 4 and 375/1000. We first reduced it with a common factor of 25. Then we reduced it again finally to 4 3/8. We have C, D, E, and F. Set them up in fractions and reduce them to simplest form. Now, check your answers. We had 64/100, reduced it to 16/25. 3 424/1000, so we reduced that. 3 53/125. 2 65/100, 2 13/20. F, 1 25/10,000. We reduced it to 1 and 1 over 400. And lastly, 735 thousandths, reduced it to 147 over 200.
Whoa.
Now, in our last order, you're going to compare in order these numbers. So since our lesson is on decimals, we're going to convert the fraction to a decimal, compare them, put them in order from least to greatest in their original format. So we're going to take 2/7, put it in decimal form first. Now, I'm comparing these decimals. So for the purpose of this problem only, I'm going to just go out 2 decimal places. So that I can compare 2/7 to 25/100. Then I'm going to take 5 over 2, change it to a mixed number. 2 1/2 is the same as 2.5. So I can change this to 2.5. Now we can compare these numbers from least to greatest. As we write them down, we're going to cross out the ones we use first. So we're going to put them in order from least to greatest. So here is our final answer. We changed each of those numbers to a decimal, compared them, and put them in order from least to greatest. I'm going to pause the video. You're going to do the same thing on B. So 8/3 will change to 2 2/3. If you don't know this by heart, you're going to need to have it memorized. 2/3 in decimal now 2/3 in decimal form is going to be 0.6 with a bar notation over it. You will need to put this to memory. Now we have 9/4. 9/4 will change to 2 1/4, which is the same as 2.25. Again, another one you need to commit to memory. So the only one that you really need to do with a division would be 4 divided by 9. As I can tell by working this out that the decimal is going to repeat. So 1 4/9 in decimal form is going to be 1.4 with a bar notation over it. Now I've done everything that I need to do. So now that I can compare, I'm going to underline the numbers that we will be comparing, but putting them in the original format. If I'm going from least to greatest, my smallest fraction would be 1 4/9. My next my next decimal would be 1 9/10. Next, 1 94/100. Next would be 9/4. Last would be 8/3. So when you're asked to compare these numbers, put them in decimal form and then put them in their original format from least to greatest.